Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today we're going to have a fun day, I think. I've been watching a lot of BBC documentaries on acacia trees in Africa and a lot of African clips and movies. If you go to the playlist section of the channel under tree documentaries, and if you look towards the bottom, you'll see some of these documentaries on Africa listed there. So it's raining today, of course. So I thought I'd try my hand at another African scene today. So I bought some elephants, 3 elephants, and I'll show them to you. So here's the elephants I got. I got a male, and a mummy, and a little baby. So that's what we're going to be using in our planting. So I've got everything set up to do our landscape, or it's going to be more like a living diorama. You can call it a bonsai if you want. Doesn't matter to me. So we're going to start again with our plastic seed trays. It's doubled up for strength, and I melted all the holes in the bottom with a soldering iron. It works quite well. And I've got a wooden oak frame to put the seed tray in. So we'll just pop the seed trays in like this. Like so. And this oak frame doesn't have any feet on it yet. And I was thinking I was going to leave it as it is and then carve out a section in the middle here and leave these as the feet on the corners. So that'll come at a later date. I don't have time to do it right now, but that'll come. And that'll get our pot to look even shallower than it actually is. So you may be wondering what these 2 cedars have to do with elephants and an African scene. Well, I've got this crazy idea. I want to prune these cedars to look like an acacia tree. And I think it'll look pretty good. Kind of an unusual tree to use as an African scene, but we're going to try it. I have these 2 cedars. This one was one I collected last year on our collection trip. So it hasn't been styled at all. It's just been root pruned and put in a training pot. The other cedar is one that was given to me by a club member who's passed away. So it kind of has some special meaning to me, and I want to give it a good home if I can. So that's my goal, is to put these cedars, maybe just one of them, I don't know, into our African scene and train it like an acacia tree. And on a tree in Africa, the height of the lowest branch is usually somewhere where elephants can't reach. So these trees are about the right size for this planting. So that's one of the reasons, and I don't want to style this cedar as another cedar in my collection. I have enough cedars already, so we're going to style them as African acacia trees and use our elephants and use this as our landscape pot. So here we go, even though it's raining. Okay, so the rain outside is getting quite a bit stronger. I heard some thunder. So I'm moving indoors into the greenhouse to finish this. We're going to get it done today. That's my goal. So the first thing we're going to do, in bonsai, your main focal point is the trees. You want your eye to be drawn to the tree, to the root base. Your eye goes up into the foliage and the canopy. This planting is going to be kind of the opposite. Our focal point is going to be the elephants in this planting. And the tree is just going to be like an accessory in the background. So it's going to be a little different than your regular bonsai. And I hate to even call this bonsai. This is probably more, as I said, a living diorama. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange the elephants. So I'm going to add soil to the pot to get them up to ground level. And then we're going to arrange the elephants and then kind of fit the tree in behind it or in front, wherever it looks good. There's a lot of possibilities in this planting, and I've thought about a lot of different things. One is I could make like a watering hole where I have a water feature in the middle and the elephants are drinking from it. I could add termite mounds in the surface of the landscape. I could have the elephants in a forest. I could have them in the open desert. There's a lot of different possibilities, and so we're going to do, I think we're just going to have the elephants on the ground and the trees as a background. But we'll see. I might change my mind later on. We'll just see how it goes and how it looks. So let's get started. Let's fill our tray with soil, and we'll arrange the elephants first. And this soil has a lot of composted pine chunks in it, so it should be good for the cedars. If we were to add a water feature to this planting, this would be the time to do it. We would put in a little pool. We have to have some waterproof container that sits in here, and we pile the soil around it to make the water kind of, you know, just below the soil level. These trays hold a lot of soil. So all these shallow pots are quite deceptive. They have a lot of surface area and they hold a lot of soil. I'm always surprised how much soil these things take to fill them up. Now I'm just filling a level. I haven't left room for the tree yet because I'm going to position the elephants first, and then we'll determine where the tree's going to go, or trees, and then we'll dig out a pocket for them and plant them in there. I think that'll do. That'll allow us to position the elephants. Okay, so let's position elephants. I'm kind of thinking I like the male out front facing you. And the baby with the mama. I don't want them all facing. That looks kind of too circus-like, all in a line. Don't like that. I think closer. Oops. No. Too cuddly. That's not too bad. I'll fool around with it and try and get a final position of them. You kind of have to imagine, if you have trees, what they're going to look like. So I'm going to fool around with it a bit and maybe position some trees, try them out and see what I like. And we'll come back when I've maybe made up my mind. Alright, so after a lot of decisions, I've decided on this type of a composition. So I have the shade tree here, the acacia tree, my elephants, and then over here I'm going to have a water feature, so a small like a small little dried up pond that the elephants can drink from. So it kind of shows they're walking from the shade of the tree to get a drink. It kind of tells a bit of a story. So the next job will be to pop the tree in the ground. I've kind of picked this as the front of the tree. It's kind of got the best branch arrangement. And I think it's so this cedar, believe it or not, is the oldest tree I have. Edna, who owned it before she gave it to me, grew it for 20 years, and I've had it for about 10 years. So this tree's probably, you know, it was probably 5 years old when she dug it up. So yeah, it's probably 35 years old at the moment. So I'm going to try and save this moss because we'll probably use it as our grass in our diorama. I guess we could call it penging. So we'll save that. So this tree has been growing for 2 years in this pot, and I think it's going to be quite root bound. We'll just get it out of the pot. Yeah, it's really packed in here. I can feel the root ball is really tight in the pot. Really tight. See if I can get it out. No, I'm going to have to go around all the edges. It's really packed in here. This tree has never really been styled. It was pruned down at one point, but it was never really vigorous. So after I repotted it last time, I've just been letting it grow. There we go. Wow. Look at that. Just packed with roots. It'll be fairly difficult combing these roots out, but we'll try. We're going to be ripping a lot of roots. I can just tell because they're so packed in here. But I do want to get the surface roots sorted out. And the reason is I want to keep the trunk round. So I want an even spread of radial roots coming out from the base of the tree. If you have your roots one-sided, your trunk will go out of round and you'll end up with a strange shaped trunk on your tree. So I'm just using the end of the root rake here to try and separate some of these roots that are all tangled. We've got to get all these roots going the right direction and untangle them all. It's starting to loosen up. Cedar roots are really tough. Luckily, it's quite hard to break them. Especially once they get a little older. They're really tough and flexible. As you can see, I haven't ripped a lot of roots. So I'm going to cut off these ones that are really long. And I can give the roots a wash. just to make it a little easier to comb them out. Okay, so I've washed the roots. It's got a lot of nice surface roots. As I'm combing, I am ripping through a lot of fine roots, but not the roots I want to keep. The ones that are in a radial pattern are not getting ripped. The only ones that are getting ripped are the crossing and matted roots that we want to clean out anyway. You want to be able to run your root rake through all the roots. Give the roots room to grow. You don't want them all fusing together into a mat. It makes it hard to water. It makes root pruning in the future very difficult. And you can see, because I've repotted this before, there's no tap roots running down. There's a few thicker roots that have grown, but we'll remove those. All these downward facing roots. But I think that's pretty good. I'll just do one final wash of the roots and final combing and get rid of this moss around the base, and it'll be ready for planting. Okay, so I've got the moss picked off the trunk. I've given the roots a final wash and comb out. So the tree's ready to plant. I am going to do some pruning to the tree. We want this to be a flat top tree like the acacias. So we're going to prune off some of this vertical growth. So I'm just going to prune it back probably to here for now. Like that. And I think we'll prune this really long branch back. There's a lot of nice growth in here. So I think we'll go back to here for now. And we'll prune back some of these other tips. Just to get it approximately some styling, not a whole lot. Okay, and we have to pick a front for the tree. So we want a trunk that shows the spreading branches. There is a part where a branch was pruned here that kind of looks like the scarring you get on the trunks from elephants digging their tusks into the trees. So that might be a feature to show. This kind of view, we get these two branches spreading left and right. This view, we get branches spreading left and right and one coming towards us. This view shows the movement of the trunk. I'm kind of leaning towards this as being the front. It has the movement here. It's got good branching that kind of shows a flat crown to the tree. So yeah, I think somewhere there. Again, if we change our minds later on, we can always change the position of the tree with the next repotting. But we want it to get it, you know, a nice front for now. Okay, so let's get this tree planted in the pot. So the other cedar tree, I'm thinking, I got a giraffe too. I'm thinking of doing a separate planting with the giraffe feeding from the leaves of the tree. So yeah, I think we'll use that cedar in a separate planting. Also styled like an African acacia tree. So that'll be coming up in a future video. Okay, so the rain's letting up, so we're back outside, which is kind of nice. I'm going to move my elephants here. Trying to remember where they went. And our water feature. And we're going to plant our tree. So This was going to be my front right here. So we're going to put it in the corner here. So I'm going to dig away some of the soil and move it over. There goes the rooster, of course. Okay, so we'll rake our roots out. We'll rake our roots out the best we can here. Just gonna trim this one off. It's a little long. Position them all. That one's got to be trimmed off too. Okay, I want all these roots to be in the soil. I don't want them sticking up here, so I'm going to get them in the soil. And our planting height looks pretty good. Pretty good there. And we'll start filling it in. And we'll work the soil into the roots as we're going. And I'm going to check the position of the tree from the front just to see if it looks good. Yeah, I think there looks pretty good. You can't see it much from the front here. That foliage is hanging down in front of the branch structure, but we'll clean that up. Okay, let's finish planting the tree. So we'll continue working the soil into the roots. As we do this, the tree will firm up in the pot, so it'll be less wiggly. The only disadvantage of coming back outside here now is that the mosquitoes are all coming out. I remember our collection trip the one year. Oh, the mosquitoes were just so thick. You just hated to stop in one spot. It was just terrible. Okay, that's getting good. We'll fill in the rest now. So I've left a little room for sand on top here and for planting the moss and everything. So I'm not right up to the lip of the pot. So I'm just watering this section with the tree for now. I'm gonna dig out the spot for the water feature now. These oak frames, I don't leave them outside on the benches. I just take the seed tray out and leave the seed tray sitting on the bench, and the oak frames get stored indoors. They're just used for display. Okay, the next step, we want to put our water feature in here. So I'm going to move this elephant out of the way. And we've got to dig it. I was going to use a round thing, but I think a square would fit better in the corner here. So I'm going to dig some soil out. That should be good. We'll fill it in like that. Put a little soil in around the front here. Let's get some sand around here and we'll see how it looks. Okay, so I'm going to fill a lot of the bottom of this with sand, because I want it to look just like almost like a water hole that's dried up. One thing we don't want to see is the lip of the container when it's all done. So I think we got to build up more sand on the edges, cover the lip, and we're just going to have like a depression with the water in it. It will wick out to the sand around it, but that's okay. It'll dry up and then you just re-water it, and it'll keep the moss nice and moist around here. We'll just have our pool in there. Okay, so we want most of our moss around the water hole and some near the tree, and the rest will be pretty barren. So let's just start planting it, and we'll see what it looks like. These landscapes don't have to look perfect your first try. It's the kind of thing over the years you can, you know, as you look at it and study it, you might want to make changes, and so they kind of evolve over time. I wouldn't be too worried if you don't like it first try. I think the rooster agrees with us. Okay, I'm going to try filling our water feature with water and see what it looks like now. So we're filling our water feature with water, and I'm liking the muddy color to it. It looks pretty cool. So the next thing we want to do is get some sand on the rest of the planting, and then we'll start our more landscaping with the mosses and maybe some rocks. We'll see. And we'll start filling in the rest of the surface with sand. Then we'll see how it looks. If we have to add some rocks or something, if it looks too boring, or we'll do that. And we'll have to water this to get all the sand to settle down and level out. And the water is still staying in there. I like it. Looks like a mud hole. Let's get some water on it all and put the elephants on, and we'll keep planting moss and see what it looks like. So now we're wetting it all down, the sand, which levels it all out. Okay, so we'll let that dry out a bit and put the elephants on, and then we'll start planting moss. Okay, so I've got my elephants positioned, and I'm fooling around with some rocks, placing them here and there, and yeah, it looked a little plain without the rocks. Maybe when we get more moss planted it'll look a little better, but yeah, I think I like the rocks there. So we're just going to keep planting. Little tufts here and there. So I've added some rocks to the right hand side there, a tall one and a lower one at the back. And I added one more by the pond. I think it looks better. It kind of frames the picture a bit. The elephants are sort of the center point in the middle. We're going to have to prune the tree up. It doesn't look much like an African tree at the moment. So I think that'll be next, is to do a little pruning on the tree. Okay, so we're going to prune up some of the tree here. We're going to take most of these branches back to some good foliage. We want a large flat canopy, but we don't want it too large, or it just won't look right. We can't do too much for now until the tree recovers from its repotting and starts growing again. I think we'll leave it at that for now. Okay, so we're getting close to being done for now. Just need to do some cleanup. We can't really do a whole lot with the tree yet. It'll probably have to wait till it starts growing again, and then we can do some more cutting on it. A lot of these vertical branches will have to come off. If we can get some back budding in this branch, we can cut it off shorter. We got a branch that kind of crosses in front and sticks out too far, so as we get more buds and that forming at the bases of these branches, we can start shaping the canopy to look more like an acacia tree. But it gives the impression, yeah, I like it. It's good for the first day. I think as we kind of refine it, it'll just you know, slowly look better. I noticed the water hole has drained again. I think the sand is absorbing all the water in it. It seems to last about half an hour. So I'm going to fill it again and we'll take a final look at the planting. There you go, elephants, you can have a drink. The drums echoing tonight. She hears only whispers of some quiet conversation. She's coming in 12:35. Moon and wings reflect the stars that guide me towards salvation. I stopped an old man along the way, hoping to find some long forgotten words or ancient melody. He turns to me as if to say, hurry boy, it's waiting there for you. So that's it for today. We got our elephant diorama all planted. We endured the rain. We got it done today. So I'm happy. And I think it looks pretty good. We'll keep updates on this planting as we do more work on it. So Nigel Saunders for Kitchener Waterloo Bonsai. We'll see you next time.